Today we will see how to split a plot using BhuNaksha. First log in to BhuNaksha, give user ID and password. Select the village. And select the plot which you need to split. Now in the file menu option, there is an option split plot. Click on this option. It will open that parcel in a separate window, in a separate split window. In the split window, there are many tools which will get familiarized. In this, the first tool is for showing the vertices. Vertices means these are the digitized points or the points which contribute to this parcel polygon. So this polygon is made from these points. Now these points are named in BhuNaksha with some arbitrary names, v1 to some v1, v2, v3. Names are assigned to these points so that we can use these points while creating the division line. In BhuNaksha, splitting a plot is done using division lines. There are many tools and methods using which we can create division line. Now for hiding these vertices, we can use this menu option which will hide those vertices. Now as I said, a plot can be divided in BhuNaksha using some division line. There are many ways for creating this division line. So this first method which I am going to show you is for creating a division line by just drawing. It is a freehand drawing method. So we can just click on this map and create a line like this. And this line gets snapped to the vertices or the border line. So while creating this line, we also get the distance or length of this line we are going to create. When we move mouse, it will show the line distance or the length of that line, and it gets snapped to this border and also the vertex points. So we can drop somewhere here. Now we got two sub parcels. We can assign parcel numbers to these two sub parcels. After assigning the parcel numbers, for this temporary polygon P1 we assigned 1470/1, and for this polygon we assigned 1470/2. Now if we save this division, and if we refresh this map, we can see now two separate parcels are available instead of that single parcel. Now let's familiarize other methods available for creating division line. So again, I just highlighted the vertices. Now let's come to these methods. This is distance angle method. In this method, we can create a division line by inputting distances and angles. We can just feed the distances, measurements in terms of distance and angle to create the division line. So suppose in this parcel, we need a line from here to somewhere here. We need to cut a parcel like this. So how we can do that using distance angle method. So for creating a line like this, we need a point here, a point somewhere here, and a point here. So for creating this point, let's start measuring from this known point. Let's say from V5. We'll start measuring from V5 and we need here. So let's feed the measurement. Let's say it is some 30 meters. We got a point here. Now we need a point here. So we'll start from the newly created point, that is A1. We will feed the distance from A1 to this. Let's say it is at a distance of 120 meters. And angle, we need to feed the angle also. Let's say the angle is some 90 degree. Here I took the distance from this point to this point. I measured 80 meters, and angle, we took the angle as 100 degrees. Now we got this point. Likewise, we can create a series of points. Now let's suppose we need a point here. Again, we need a point here. So we can again add one more point, A2, and let's say it is at a distance of 20 meters and angle of some 200 degrees. So we got this point, and ultimately suppose we need to drop this line somewhere on this line, on this border. So what we can do is we can create any number of points like this by feeding the distance and angles. Now what we can do is we can measure from some corner point. Let's say again from V5 we will measure. V5 towards this point. So that is V6, towards V6, from V5 towards V6 at a distance of again let's say 90 meters, 80 meters I'll take. So we got a line like this by feeding all these distances and angles. We got a line. Now if we click OK, we have these two subparcels to which we can again assign new numbers, and if we save, it will be saved in the village map. Now we have seen this distance angle method. Now there is one more method which is almost similar to distance angle method, that is distance direction method. It is almost similar to that method, but instead of feeding angle, we can select directions like east, north, northeast, northwest, and all. So these are prefixed angles. So it is similar to distance angle method, but instead of angle, we have some predefined angles or directions. Now we'll come to another division method, that is arc method. Suppose we need to create a parcel like this, cut a parcel like this. So this method is handy for cutting a parcel in the corner. So what we'll have to do is we can identify this known point. We can identify this point on ground, this corner point on ground. Here in the digitized map, it is V6. we got this it is V8. We selected this V8. Now we need a point here. We need a point here, somewhere here. So we can measure it from this corner, that is V8. We can measure towards V7. We can measure a point here, let's say at a distance of 150 meters. No need to traverse that much. Let's take a point here somewhere at a distance of, let's say, 40 meters. Okay, we got this point. Now we need a point here. Again, we can measure from this corner. Let's say it's at a distance of some 60 meters. 50 meters. Now we got this point and this point. Now we need a point here, a center point here or an arc point here. So we can measure it from these two newly created points. Suppose from the first point it is at a distance of 45 meters, and from second point it is at a distance of 35 meters. Now we got this point. So how we got this line is, first we identified this corner, that is V8. Then we measured this point from this corner at a distance of 40 meters, and we measured this point from this corner at a distance of 50 meters, and we measured this center point from these newly created points at a distance of 45 meters and 35 meters. So ultimately we got this line, this division line. If we click OK, we have these two sub parcels to which we can assign the parcel numbers, and if we save, it will be available in the village map. Now again, let's come to another method, that is arc method. Again, this was for cutting a plot in a corner, and this is for cutting a plot, arc method opposite side. It is for cutting a plot by some parallel lines. Let's say we need a line like this. So this line is almost parallel to this line in this parcel. So we can use this method, that is arc method opposite side. So this line and these lines are almost opposite sides of this parcel. So how we can create a line like this? Again, we will identify this corner, because corner is very easy to identify. That's on ground. That's why we are going to corners. And in the digitized map also, we have these corners named by digitization points, vertex points. So let's identify this corner, that is V14. V14, we need a point somewhere here. So we can measure from this corner to this point on the border. So let's say it is at a distance of towards V15 at a distance of some 50 meters. Okay, we got this point. Likewise, we can identify a point on this line also. So we will take this V8 as our known point. Then we will measure somewhere here. So let's say 45 meters. Now we got a line like this, and if we just need to join these 2 points and create 2 parcels, we can just click OK and assign new numbers. Now suppose we need a point somewhere here. On this line, we need a point somewhere here. So that will be an arc point we can measure from these two newly created points. So let's say at a distance of 48 meters from the first point, we created an arc. Now from the second point, suppose we measure the third point at a distance of 65 meters. Now there are 2 points which are intersecting. We can select any of these points. Now what we have done is we identified a point on this line A1, then identified a point on this line A3, and identified a center point by measuring from these 2 points. So we got a line of 3 points by means of measurements, arc and measurements. Then if you click OK, we got 2 subparcels. Now again, let's come to the next method, that is point measurement division. In this method, we can create a division line by measuring all the points of the line. So it is a combination of the previous arc method and all. So here we can create any arbitrary line, but the points of that line we can measure from any 2 known points. So if we need a point here, we can measure that point from this point and this point, any corner points or any known points, and likewise we can create any number of points. So let's say again we need a line somewhere like this. So first we will identify a point here. We can measure it from here, from V14. We'll start from V14, that corner. Now we need a point here, so we'll measure it somewhere. Let's say it is at a distance of 30 meters. So we got this point. Now if we need a point here, we can measure it from 2 known points. Let's say we are going to measure from this corner point and the newly created point. So first I will start from V16. And let me feed the distance. Suppose we need here, means it will be almost like 50 meters. And from here, from this newly created point, that is A1, again I will measure that, and let's say it's at a distance of some 45 meters. Okay, now in 45 meters we have 2 intersecting points. So let's say we are interested in this point, so we will select this 2. Now again, like this, we can create any number of points. Suppose we need a point over here, we can measure it from this corner and maybe from this point. So I will measure from V3, this corner V3. Let's say the distance is 80 meters, and again from this point I will measure. And if the distance, let's say the distance is some again 55 meters. Now we got this point. Likewise, we can create any number of points, And ultimately, suppose we need to drop the line over here, we can again measure it from some known points. So let's say this V8, we will measure it from V8. At a distance of, let's say here, somewhere here we need at a distance of 45 meters. Okay, now we got a line like this by inputting a series of points by measuring each point from two known points. If we click OK, we'll get two parcels. Now let's familiarize some other methods. This ATS points. Suppose this map is a georeferenced map, then using GPS ATS machines, points or the line point division points can be collected from ground. It can be imported as CSV format to the screen, and when we click insert, all those points will be plotted here, and a line can be drawn using this freehand method. Using this freehand method by joining those points, and while creating the line, it will snap to those ETS points which we imported, and we can create the division line using this method, using this freehand drawing. So using ETS points, we can draw a line using freehand drawing method, and while drawing those the line, it will get snapped to those newly imported ETS points. And while drawing, it also snaps to the existing vertex and borders. Now suppose we created this line, we need some more lines, some more points on this line. We can use this place point on line. We can click somewhere, it will add new points to this line. Now the line, shape of the line can be adjusted by dragging of any points on the line. Then any point can be deleted. Any point on the line can be deleted using this delete point from line icon. And likewise, using any of these methods, we can create any number of lines. It is not that we restrict to only two parcels. We can create any number of lines. Then suppose we need to finish that line, we can click escape. So now we have two lines and three subparcels, this P1, P2, P3. Likewise, we can create any number of lines. It can be done using any of these methods, by measurement methods also. Now I will show one more division line creation method. This is ladder data, or it can be said as it is an offset method. Suppose we create a baseline from this corner to this corner, we can create offset points, and we can create line based on those offset points. So from V6, sorry, it was V8, from V8 to V1, Let's take V2. From V8 to V8 to V2, we can add offset points. Let's say the name at the left name is 1 and distance. Suppose the offset distance is some 20 and the distance on this line is some 25. So we got this offset point. Likewise, we can create any number of offset points. Suppose we need an offset point somewhere here on the right side. So we can specify the distance, let's say 100 meters, and right side offset distance 30 and name of the point 3. So now we have all these offset points here. Now while creating the line, we can use this freehand drawing and create a line. While creating the line, it will snap to these offset points. We can create line like this. Suppose we need one more line like this. Likewise, we can also create some cut point. Cut point means a point on the border. Let's say, suppose from V10, V9 to V10, we need a point. At a distance of some 20 meters, and let's say the point name is 4. We got a point here. Likewise, we can add any number of points on the border lines or the subdivision lines also. Now again, this point can be used while creating division line. It will snap to that point also. We have so many parcels here. Now there is one icon here. It is for placing a grid. We can place a grid like this in the map. It is a transparent grid site type of thing. It can be adjusted like this. Suppose we need to align the line to the border line of the parcel. We can use these two icons for rotating it right and left. Then while creating a division line, we can use it as a help. These grid points can be used, grid points or grid lines can be used as a help. Now it will be useful. Suppose you have a division done on paper map, and you need to replicate that division to digitized map. In that case, this grid can be placed on this map, and a transparent grid like this can be placed on the paper map. Then you can adjust both the grids. Then the division line created on paper can be drawn by joining the grid points here. Now the grid can be removed by using this icon, clear grid. Now suppose we need a parcel, a polygon in the middle, not touching the border. So how we can do is, we can draw a line. If we are doing a simple freehand drawing, we can draw parcel like this, and we can click escape to finish the line. So now we got a parcel in the middle. Likewise, this can be done using any of the other methods like point division method. In point division method, we can measure all these points from two known points, and we can skip this starting part where it will start from a border. We can only feed this middle part by measuring all these points from two known points, so we can get parcels in the middle. Now there is a measurer icon here, which we can use for measuring the distance. If you click escape, it will go. Suppose we need to measure the distance from here to here, we can use this measurer. Click here, then it is distance is almost 98 meters, and from there to here it is 91 meters, and the total distance is 189 meters. Now, after doing a division, there are options like put up for approval, then permanent save. These icons will be available as per the user roles. That is, for a if workflow is customized for your state, then this put up for approval and permanent save option will be available only for the user who has the right to do that. Like suppose this initially one digitizer or surveyor did this bifurcation, and he can put it up for approval to the next user. Then he can click this icon. Then this won't be available if it is properly customized as per the workflow. Then the next user, maybe Tahsildar, when he logins, the transactions put up for approval to him will be available in the pending transaction list. And from the pending transaction list, he will be able to select that, and he will be able to approve, or he will be able to come to the previous window and approve that, or do any modification, or send back, approve, edit, all these things based on his roles. He will be able to do that.